Ladies and gents, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's get the chat in here. Come on over. Hey, it's another Friday. It's another evening. It's another time to hang out with the audience. This is what we do on Fridays. Welcome. If you're new here, which there are many new people to the community right now, actually is really getting crazy. So if you're new, welcome to the live stream. This is where I spend time with the audience. I spend time with the people who watch the show, and we chat for a couple of hours, and we talk about the things that happen throughout the week, the things that are happening right now, that kind of stuff. Maybe get a little bit more into the stories, a little bit more, elaborate into what's going on. Perhaps even get a little personal sometimes. It happens. This is the Friday night live stream. It's different than some of the other stuff that you see on the channel. If you're new, then maybe you're not aware, but if you've been around for a bit, the way this channel works is, my name's Clyde, by the way. Clyde, I do videos in the mornings, every morning before I head off to work. I'm a professional certified mechanic. I work on cars, but in the mornings and in the evenings, I talk about news and politics, as well as I juggle that between being a dad and a husband and all that stuff. We're all busy. We all have busy lives. We're all doing busy things. So that'll give you the rundown, but this is what we're getting into right now. So if you're unaware, some of you do know that these wildfires have been raging all around Canada recently, and right now, well, my town's experiencing one in particular. I tweeted about it recently. This is what I started the video off with. This was my footage. I went down to where it's happening. It's just right in the neighborhood. This is the scene on the ground. By the way, I need to get this bigger so I can read you guys' chats. Just an incredible scene, and of course some lady, is that your car back there? You gotta go. I'm like, my car's way back there. Why? What's your problem? She didn't want my car there while she set up pylons, and then changed her mind and wanted the pylons on the other side of the street. I don't know. Not very helpful, to say the least. In fact, I was only there because some people on the news had somebody from, what was it, City News had contacted me and said, come out to Depot Road, we're gonna be filming. So I went out for that. They weren't there yet, but then I got shooed away by this person. So that's what went on. Anyway, this is a issue that's happening in my town, and we're all worried about it. So I put this tweet out the other day saying evacuations have started in my little town of Squamish due to the out of control wildfire, which it's classified as that. I haven't been told to leave yet, but with most of our resources off in other provinces, those orders may come soon enough. A state of emergency has already been declared. Now this is the scene. So this is a portion of Squamish that you may or may not recognize. The Sea to Sky Highway runs right through the town. You go from Vancouver to Whistler, and we're on the way. We're on the way. That's how that works. I need to get this fan going. Holy cow, it's warm in here. As soon as I shut the door and get things going, it gets hot. It's getting hot. So yeah, this is the little town. This is where the fire started, that little red dot. This is where there's been evacuations from the town. I'm not near this. I'm about 3 kilometers away from where that is. And we're all worried. We're all worried that it could spread and, cause a lot of trouble. There's big neighborhoods all through here, and some good news. I mean, it's not great news, but the fire is still classified as out of control, but nature's doing its thing. So here's a little bit of a view of where we're currently at. They haven't really updated it in the last 24 hours, but you can kind of see the gist of where it's going. So they were able to keep it off of this ridge. The topography of this region, this is like a ridge line, and then there's a valley here. If it was to go over that ridge, it could get pretty dangerous, because then that valley could spread all the way to where people reside, and that's not good. It's bad news. It didn't do that though. They kept dousing the top of the ridgeline to make sure they wouldn't go over. Unfortunately, it did keep spreading, but it was spreading to the north, and it's largely because of just the way Squamish is. There's the Howe Sound. Wind after about noon every day rages northbound. That's just the way the wind flows in. This is just the way the wind goes. That's the way it is here in this town. So yeah, it's going north. It's moving north. So anybody who had plans to camp at Alice Lake, not happening. It's about to be engulfed in flames. That's where we're at. Now we got a bit of overcast weather. It's sprinkled a bit, but not much. And that's it. Wish we could all help Clyde, the rest of the community. So more retardant. Yeah, so they were putting the retardant all over that region. So like stopping it from going to the homes, and then also stopping it from going over the crest. And they were dousing it, obviously getting water from the nearby lake Alice Lake right there. But the way the wind goes in Squamish goes north, and it's just heading up that way. Let's just be glad it didn't get over that ridgeline. It didn't happen. But that doesn't say that we're not out of the weeds here yet. We're about to go into fire season. If you're not unfamiliar with the territory, I'll just give you a quick explainer. Basically, from July, August, it does never rain. It like never rains out here. I know it's the wet coast. It rains all the time, and that's basically from late September all the way to now. It rains like crazy, and we've had a pretty dry June so far, and pretty dry a few weeks even before June. And yeah, everything turns into, it's arson season. That's right. So everything turns into a tinderbox, and it's largely because of bad forest management in the region, in the country at large. Really bad forest management. As you can see, there's a bit of natural areas that are less forested, but that's because it's like a rocky terrain area. Everywhere else, keep in mind as well, this whole area, this whole region had been logged previously and then replanted with like monoculture kind of trees in the hopes to re-log it again in the future. But then, yuppies and hippies and all these people, they move to town because there's an economy, and the first thing they want to do is shut down that said economy, which was logging. The town existed only for logging. The big draw, the big tourist draw forever has been the logger sports event that happens in August, the first week of August. That's the biggest thing. There's lumberjack Olympics. People come from all over the planet. I'm not kidding. Like people from New Zealand fly all the way out here. They're very, very big into logging in New Zealand. That's their thing. But yeah, so there's always been a logging industry. You drive into town, there's a casino. Of course, the natives have a casino, and there's a giant lumberjack with holding an axe as you roll into town. This is it's what it is. But yeah, yuppies moved in, and they've been saying, no, you got to move the forestry industry out further and further and further. We're not logging the area. There's no fire breaks. There's none of that stuff. It doesn't happen here anymore. They have to go farther and further out all the time for logging. Miss those logger sports days. Salty Berry, you from Squamish originally? Is that the thing? Because if you know logger sports days, Squamish days, that's the thing. Yeah, you absolutely know it. The big thing, you got to get your rotary beef. You got to make sure you get your tickets and get in line for that early, or you miss out. Yeah, the beef. So I gotta tell you, so it's a tradition in Squamish. Logger sports, first weekend of August, hottest weekend too, by the way. It's so hot, and you're out in the sun all day for this event, but they got the big hot power chainsaws. They got the all the lumberjack events. It's such a fun time. But you go out to it, and the big draw is the Rotary Beef for anybody who's a local, because they only do it that during logger sports. But what they have is they have this a fire pit with a roof over top of it. The roof is being doused by water the entire day because it's just a huge roaring fire in a pit. And they have these big a rotisserie spit, like enormous, and they have just giant beef roasts on that, and they're lighting up the offcuts from the logger sports. So every time they're cutting off a piece of wood or they're chopping something, it's all going into that fire pit, and it's firing up those those beef roasts that are roasting up on there. And when they're cooked enough, they pull them into the building, and they've got deli slicers, and they're slicing them up nice and thin, and it's hot beef sandwiches with like just the fried onions, the works. It's the greatest. I'm getting hungry just talking about it. But this is a tradition here in Squamish. So I've been here for some time now. I'm gonna miss it when I'm gone. That's something as well. I'm totally gonna miss it when I'm gone. And well, this week it looked like I might have been gone sooner than I thought, but no, the fire's going north, so no worries about that. Not at the moment, but guys, give Clyde do something like, yeah, thank you, Carla, thank you so much. Beef, catalyze the beef. Yeah, that's how you do it. What happened to all of Alberta Firewatch towers? I had a friend that used to work for them visit 4 different fire towers, no longer exist. Is that right? I don't know. Start the tradition where you move, Clyde. Well, where I'm moving, there's a long tradition of good ass barbecue. that's one thing. I've been hearing lots. Well, I've been to a few while I was down visiting, and I just can't wait to bring some. I'll bring some of my expertise down with me. But yeah, Texas don't play. Good ass barbecue, man. Like, I don't know if I have anything to add to that. And I love barbecuing. I think my barbecuing, I'm just trying to get up to speed with where Texas is at. Of course, going down there, I've never had, because I like to, for those that know me, I love barbecuing. That's one of my favorite things to do in my spare time. But I never had anything with pecan wood before. And whoa, man. Oh boy. Pecan. Delicious. Texas does mesquite for their barbecue. I love mesquite. I use mesquite all the time. When I make bacon, I use mesquite, a mix of mesquite and hickory for the smoke. Really, really like that. Yeah, Texas does. Klaus Schwab for crimes against humanity. Yeah, sure. Let's get that going. All of the Western Canada has got to separate. Well, we'll see what happens with beautiful British Columbia, because they're full of communists. It turns out, and even in, oh my goodness, this region, they wow, I didn't see it going that way, but it did. The provincially went green party. Like, you can't go any more commie than that. I mean, that's first world commie right there. And you know what? First world commie turns into third world commie. Not in spite of them being communists, first world communists. I think it's because of, it's kind of the cocoon, right? It's the communist cocoon. They start off as these green little caterpillars, I guess, and then they turn into beautiful iron curtains. I don't know where I'm going with that analogy, but yeah, they go into their cocoon when they get elected in, and then they take all of your prosperity and and destroy it. But you know what? This is a funny fact. I mean, this isn't new news for Canada, Canada's been going through this for some amount of time. I mean, we can look back to what, the 1970s. Like this, what's happening in Canada isn't happening suddenly. Like it isn't just like a oh goodness, we just caught communism. Wow, we just caught it. Like COVID, you know, like somebody got a little communism on you there. Sorry. No, this has been a slow burn towards that for a very long time. Look back at the years of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, fancying himself quite the little communist, going down to hang out in Cuba with his kid's dad and doing all of those things, and going all the way over to China to help convince them to adopt a new economic strategy that would make them more prosperous in their communism. That was the goal. That was the plan. That was Trudeau's idea of going over. You got it, Salty Berry, with the Club of Rome, going over there and trying to convince them. He met Mao. He met a murderous murderer. I mean, the murderous murderer. I mean, if we were to have like a competition of who were the worst of all of them, are there worse than Mao? Are there worse than Mao? I know Stalin's up there. I know he's way up there. I know Lenin's way up there. They put the funny mustache guy way up. He's way up there. He was also a firm believer in the socialismo that we all talk about. But yeah, the boiling boiling frog phenomenon. Mary Mason saying, read my mind. Look back to the 70s history with Senior Trudeau. Absolutely. So this is a slow burn. So when we see stuff today like the GDP of the G7 countries, or G8 countries, I guess, Canada being dead last, absolutely the worst. Do you have a brother? I have 3 brothers. Yeah, I have brothers. Mao was way nastier than all of them, frankly. Yeah, Mao even wrote in his little red book that everybody carried around with them. He wrote all these passages, and one of the passages was, it's better to let half the population starve and give the other half their belly full. And the whole reason for that was loyalty. You can, if everybody would, instead of making everybody malnourished, take all of the food and redistribute it to only the ones that are the most loyal to you, and let everyone else die. He did that. He absolutely did that. Unbelievable. Clyde, is one of them a YouTuber? One of who? Is one of who? Sorry, you'll have to repeat that one in the thing. Greed. That greed. Greed's one of the biggest motivators. Is one of my brothers a YouTuber? No. None of my brothers do YouTube. None of that stuff. No. That chart shows Canada is #1 at sucking. Yeah, there you go. But this didn't happen overnight. This is something that occurred over a long period of time, all starting with the advent of socialism being entered into the Canadian lexicon, into how this all works. Clyde, hello from Niagara. Betty, hello from British Columbia. Way over to you in beautiful Niagara. Niagara on the Lake, or right by the falls. It's gorgeous over there. Stay away from the people, though. they're big Carney fans, apparently. No, I'm kidding. Where are we? And those oil and gas wells he drilled are still there, capped. Really? Oh, by the way, thank you, G-Meister. I never say this early enough in the live streams. During the live streams, I like to do this hangout. It lasts usually about 2 hours, so we're hanging out. We're already 20 minutes into this. This is amazing. But we usually hang out for about 2 hours. I'll talk about some of the topics and all these things like that. But then from there, we go into the Discord server. So you can scroll back up in the chat and you'll see there's a Discord link there. Now, I don't advertise a Discord link anywhere else but in these live streams, only on Friday evening. So if you want to be part of our Discord crew or server, you want to just go there to be part of the conversation, that's great. The only opportunity to do that is while we're live streaming. And we do that for a reason. The reason why we do that is because if you put it up on every link for every video, if you get all the riffraff, people who don't have any care about the community, we don't leave the links available so people can't share them, that kind of thing. These links expire, so you use it now or you lose it. Use it or lose it. But yeah, come on into the community because it's a tight knit. It's great, and there's really good people, and we do this. The reason why we do this is because we don't want the bots and we don't want trolls, and so we keep everybody, all of those people out, and it keeps everybody happy. That's nice. We're not looking for exponential growth. We're not looking for tons and tons of people. We're only looking for genuine people. So if you're genuine and you want to come hang out, come hang out. Every Friday after the live stream, I personally go into the live stream and I hang out with everybody and chat with everybody. You don't have to come in and chat. You can lurk if you want. It's up to you guys. But just making sure that's available to you. So the link is in the chat there. Gmeister's put it up. I usually forget until it's later in the stream. I'm mentioning it now, so you can get yourself into that. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for $5 says, I have a little red book that my dad got when he was in the FBI. It's not a first edition and very cheap with a plastic cover. Really? But is it a genuine Chinese little red book? That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. That's something that, yeah, I'd like to have something like that in my collection for sure. Because I want people to know. I want people to know just how bad socialism is. Like all this hurt that we're feeling, believe me, it's because of this. It's the economic system of socialism. It's just awful. It's absolutely awful, and it leads to worse and worse and worse economy as we go on. And at the end of it, you're so far removed from a normal market economy that everybody's just like, they don't even know where to place the blame because it's so far behind. Is the pleb alive? Yeah, he's alive. Apparently he was talking with Jasper maybe a few days ago or something. I saw Jasper posted about it and said he's gonna be making a big comeback. So we'll see. He's been out traveling and blowing off steam or something like that. So yeah, we'll see where that is. There's good reason why immigrants from countries who've been there have been raising flags for years now. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a big difference between, Chinese people that have come here to escape communism and Chinese people who come here to bring communism. Those are a very, very different thing as well. Same with other countries. And I've talked about this. Rudy's a perfect example. Rudy, if you don't know who he is, he's a YouTuber. Maybe I'll pull up his channel. He's fantastic. But Rudy's been at it, telling people the dangers of socialism. He's from Venezuela. He's emigrated to Canada, and he is now Canadian. He's now a Canadian citizen. Where are we? Rudy Cast on YouTube. He's got 2 channels. He's got an English channel and a Spanish channel. I've been on his show. He's fantastic, but he'll talk to you about the dangers of socialism. Absolutely. But here's part of the dangers, right? So he's talked to other people that are from Venezuela that have come here, and they're coming here and they haven't really been cured of the propensity towards socialism, because you get people that'll come and then they're advocating for the same shit that ruined their country. And they just don't get it. They don't realize yet. And this is why I was actually really perturbed at Chavez for dying when he did. I wanted him to stick around so his policies would lead to the inevitability while he was still alive. It's like the Lenin thing. People still believe that Lenin was a great guy, and it was actually Stalin that ruined everything. No. Chavez, Lenin, they're both equally horrible. And yeah, same with the Chavistas, the people who, espouse these ideas. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says, I'll show you the little red book in the Discord. Mao wasn't a great writer. Lots of run-on sentences and dry aphorisms. That's hilarious. That's pretty funny. I wouldn't expect a communist to be they're not very good economists. Why would they be good writers? Right? So here we are. We're looking at Canada, and we didn't get here out of nowhere. This is the slow long burn of socialism that brought us to this point. And, we're also bringing in more people that love to do that stuff. Where was I going with this? It came to mind, but this is a tweet that I put out today, and I don't know, it just came to mind, so I just threw it out there because I was like, I have to just express myself, the things that I have to say. But this came to mind, and I said, and the idea is very simple. Liberty is one of those funny things whereby by the time you need it, it's way past the time you should have been defending it. And we've been seeing this in Canada. A lot of people have been raising the flags for a lot of years. Hey, this is socialism. This is bad. This is really not something we want to be going down this path. And people have been hitting those alarm bells and ringing the bells and saying, no, we gotta reel this back. And the problem is, it's so easy for people to feel secure in their situation. I feel good. I'm doing fine. Yeah, we're limiting people's liberties, but it's not like our government would ever trespass against the individuals in our country. We just don't have that way about us. We're not that kind of people. We don't do that. We don't do that. Just like the Chinese didn't do that. They didn't do that previous to the Mao dynasty coming in. Maybe the people of Russia weren't quite like that. There's so many instances where you could say that the people of a place, they're not like that. It wouldn't happen here. That's not. No, it absolutely can. It has been happening here. It's been happening here, and this is the product of it. And again, it's you reap what you sow. We are in the worst. And who's the second last in this whole equation? It's amazing. Germany. People are always talking about Germany. I was so great. They're second last, and that's amazingly. It's in spite of how industrious they are. Germany is an incredibly industrious culture, just in general, incredibly industrious, and yet the amount of socialism that they've brought on in their country, despite how industrious they are, their socialism is just destroying everything about them. Germany started off, they had the wall between them, and you had the socialists over here, and you had the free market people over here, and that was where the industrious people were. And then they brought down that wall, and it was like, yay, socialism's gone, because the Soviet Union had collapsed and had fallen. Incidentally, why did the Soviet Union collapse? Voila! Same thing. The reason why the Soviet Union collapsed was not because there was attacks on the Soviet Union and all that stuff. The attacks were within. The attacks are just incredibly how bad their economic system is. This idea of socialism, and especially when you bring it to the ultimate communism, which is the inevitability of it. The inevitability of it's communism, but then actually, interestingly enough, it doesn't, because it doesn't work there. Where communist regimes have been able to stay afloat is by becoming fascist regimes, which is really interesting. And James Lindsay's written about this quite extensively. He's written about this quite a bit, or spoken about it as well. And he was at the We Unify conference recently, and he did a speech. It was fantastic. I listened to that speech. I think I have the tab for it open. Yeah, that's right. Oh, James Lindsay. Oh man, what a champion. Let me pop this open. I've got too many things going on the fly. But this is James Lindsay, of course, talking about exactly this. And he's spot on, because he's saying that communism didn't go away, and China didn't become less communist. It just shifted its focus, and it became this new neo-communist, or what would you call it, fascist, because it was the idea of merging corporation and state. The only problem with this whole scheme is that it relies on an external source. It's parasitical. So without something to feed on, it also dies. It dies with the host, and it's one of those parasites that are so bad that they actually, Mr. Doom, China is fascist, really. Listen to a little bit of what James Lindsay has to say here, but then I can elaborate.
That is what happened, though, and that's why I think that there is a hopeful story to tell. I will just kind of break the ice. You already know, right? We listened to Amy just now. When we listened, about woke. We heard the free speech being absolutely destroyed. We know about you lived communism now for several years, and we could talk about how it is communism light, it is communism modified, but you may not know why. You may not know why. Of course, there's the easy answer. Communists do this. That's it. Communists want to take over the world. They make all place communist. Canada is a place in the world.
Thanks, Mark Carney. Canada is a place in the world. No, I'm joking. He's making a good point. It's written in their thing. The whole world must become communist. It's like you have to take over the whole thing, or else, if it fails, it's only failed because of those dirty capitalists, right? Those dirty people that all they care about is making businesses and serving other people's needs. Awful people, right? Those awful people out there. I mean, when you think about it, in that way, it's just like, really? How have people been so wrapped up in this ideology for so long? It really beats me. I don't get it, because you really just look at it in this way. The market economy, with what's being criticized here by the communists is, they call it the capitalist system. This was a critique. They don't call it the market economy, because that sounds okay. They don't want to call it laissez. They've demonized the term laissez-faire, which means leave it alone, is an old French term. The economy, leave it alone. Like don't try to interfere with the economy. But what is the economy at the end of the day? What is the economy? It's a bunch of people who figured out, based on a certain set of criteria, a set of laws. You can't screw people. You can't rip people off. You can't defraud people. Contracts need to be upheld. And if not, you go to court and they can come after you for money. All of these things, system of laws and all of that work to the point where the only way to enrich yourself is to build an organization that serves the needs of other people in society. Whoa. Evil. Evil, right? But no, so communism sprouts on tugging on your heartstrings and trying to get you to go along with this thing that doesn't actually do what they say it's gonna do. We should just share. We should all just share. If we just shared with each other, and I'm sorry, James, for pausing it on such a ridiculous face, but if we all just shared, wouldn't we be all better off? Well, it turns out there's no mechanism to enforce that except for infringing on people's rights. That's right. Property rights have to get crumpled up and thrown right out the window, because we can't run a system where we take away the productivity of somebody else and hand it off to somebody else without infringing on your rights. It cannot be done. And this is the crazy thing. We've just been going down this path since the 70s in Canada.
Therefore, communists come after Canada, but there's actually a kind of a bigger plan, and it ties to Mark Carney a little bit. Things have not, this isn't the 60s anymore, right? Or the 50s or whatever. Communism's over, guys. You know, don't be Joseph McCarthy, the Red Scare.
We need Joseph McCarthy. We need him back, and we need him in a big way. Maybe some Pinochets as well. I don't know. Maybe we should be starting to give away helicopter rides. And it's a figurative way, YouTube. Sorry, I just throwing that one out there. But yeah, we need to get rid of the commies. We need to really show people what it's all about. And the first step towards that is to be unabashed and be very straightforward in our speaking and calling people out for communist ideology, communist whatever it is. Call them out. Say that sounds very communist to me. And then when they say it's socialist, that's not communism. It's socialism. Well, what is socialism? Hold on a second. I brought the quote out recently on Twitter. The actual quote was it? That's right. The goal of socialism is communism. Vladimir Lenin. This is the whole point. It's in their ideology. So you come out and you say, oh, but it's don't be so hyperbolic. This isn't communism. That's the goal. It's the goal. It's always been the goal. And if some lefty comes at you and says, actually, it's fascism, you say, you know what? I agree with you. Whoa, you're boggling my mind. Yeah, it is. It is a perfect merger between corporation and state. Yes, it is neo-communism. It's fascism. This is what they're bringing. And it's bringing a lot of poverty. It's bringing a lot of bad stuff. And I pointed this out. This is something I said back on the 6th. I said, I've had enough of people saying what we have is democratic socialism. And Canada could never, ever become a communist dictatorship. Wake up. It's the goal. It always has been. Reject socialism. Reject it. Outright. Absolutely outright reject it. Oh man, I'm going early into tangents. Going into tangent town. Sorry, folks. We're going for a ride.
Communism is not the same monster that it was in the 20th century. We're in the 21st century now. We have 21st century communism. And what does it look like? It looks like the People's Republic of China. It doesn't look like the People's Republic of China under Mao Zedong.
No, it doesn't look like that. Gene, great point. Fascism, also known as corporatism. It was actually Mussolini who said that. He said, fascism was a catchy name because they talked about the fascist. It is the bundle of sticks is stronger than each stick on its own, right? And that's why they went with that. Corporatism, he also said, was probably a better name for it because fascism is the perfect merger of corporation and state. Now, who else adopted fascism? A little funny mustache man. You might remember Clinkety Clank dude with the straight arm. You can't make those symbols. You can't even mock that on the internet because somebody will screen grab it and say that you're one of them. Jackass whiskey and pinto beans for $20. Thank you so much. That's very generous. It says Jordan Peterson has outlined how Marxism was destroyed by Solzhenitsyn and went underground by French philosophers in the 70s. And the main French Marxist who started all of this wokeism was Michel. They got to say it if you're French, right? Foucault. Is that, am I pronouncing that correct? Yeah. So there's several schools. It's like this. It's like economics. There's several schools of economics. There's a bunch of different Yeah, F Foucault for real. Being taught in university. That's correct. Absolutely correct. You're totally right. Totally right about this. That being said, there's different schools, right? There's the elites in this school of thought, and then there's the academics in this school of thought. There's the Chinese who came from the old socialism. Look at North Korea. They're still practicing the old communism. They're still doing that thing. That's definitely a thing. Mechanics for $10 says, I'm a capitalist and tradesperson. Commies really hate my kind. Don't they ever? It's so funny because you'll get this mechanics. And tell me in the chat if you get this too, because I'm a terrible communist. I would joke about this all the time as a mechanic at work, because people would say, like, Clyde, why do you have your own ball joint press? Why do you have your own bearing remover tool, like these expensive tools? Why do you get those? Those are like shop tools. That's what normally your boss buys the tools. Why do you have your own computer at work? Why do you do all the stuff? You purchase all your own things. You're probably way more invested than most of the other people here. And I always say, because I'm a terrible communist. I'm awful at doing communism because of the problem with the commons, right? When there you go, he gets it. He gets exactly what I'm saying. So the problem with the commons, and this has been an issue for a long time, right? It is the issue. It's the issue. It's the societal issue that gets people pitted against each other. It's the problem of the commons. Now they call it the problem of the commons. This came about in North America, I think, during the Dust Bowl. And the Dust Bowl, they analyzed the situation. They're like, why is it that this phenomena occurred? Why was it that this even happened? This idea that people had overgrazed the Dust Bowl. Like, did they not know that if they brought their cattle there too much, that they would overgraze it? It would become the Dust Bowl, and it would be a big issue. Dude, James Lindsay has lost his mind. Don't listen to him anymore. No, I like James Lindsay quite a bit. I know there's a lot of people that don't like James Lindsay because of the woke right thing, but a lot of the people that are arguing against him are trying to find an excuse to not like brown people or something like that, and talk about racial segregation. No, I'm not keen on that. I'm still very much libertarian in my thoughts. I believe that all people have liberty endowed to them by their creator. I don't veer from that path for expedience politically. That's one of those things. Where was I? So the Dust Bowl. So the Dust Bowl is this phenomena that occurs, and it's crazy. A poor carpenter always blames his tools. There you go. I clap in my den when Clyde speaks and says yes out loud. Okay, awesome. So the Dust Bowl, what occurred there? What actually happened? What was the? And it's a psychological phenomena. It absolutely is. It's a psychological phenomenon. Sorry, I have to wet the whistle. Gotta wet the old whistle. By the way, if you guys have one, crack it. Now's the time to do it. Maybe 20 minutes ago was the time to do it. Crack it. If you got a wobbly pop, we're all having wobbly pops tonight. And hey, if you want, you can get one of these shirts over at the store. They're still available. Let me pop this up on the thing. Go get yourself one of these and get yourself some coffee while you're at it. Holy cow, the coffee's back in stock and it is tastier than ever. I drink it every single morning, and you can get yourself one of those cups, one of those fancy cups that I drink out of in the mornings on the show. We got the new Afuera mugs to help support Argentina, what's happening over there. But yeah, go get yourself a Wobbly Pops t-shirt. We designed this one. I like this one. It's the go get yourself a snack thing. So yeah, get on over there. Sorry, the other ones are sold out. I guess we got to get some more of those mugs. And suggestions, if you got any, write in the contact right there. If you want to see something come up on the store, let us know. Let us know what you'd like to see in the future. The Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl was expressly caused by the massive use of combine harvesters. The Dust Bowl was because of overgrazing. This was the phenomena that occurred was a very interesting one, especially with the when it came to the United States or like liberty-minded areas in the world. Now, the same problem of the commons happens everywhere. You can look anywhere you want to look, and you'll find it. Honestly, you'll find it all over the place. But what happened in the Dust Bowl was you had all these farmers that had cattle, and on their land, they were able to they have their land. It's fenced off. They have grass areas where the cattle can range. But then they were told these areas are free range, like literally free. You can freely go and range on these areas. And as the areas got more popular and more cattle ranchers would come about, they would use that area. And you think, oh, that's great. They're able to take their cattle out and drive their cattle out, range their cattle, get them the exercise that they need, and all the stuff, all the things. I want Clyde's coffee. It's always sold out. It's not sold out right now in the store. Get on over there. Links in the description down below. You can get yourself. We've got the dark roast. We have the ecological decaf, which is fantastic. And we have the MAGA medium because we're making Americanos great again. None of this Canadiano elbows up BS. No thanks. Anyway, back to the Dust Bowl. So what happened with that whole situation? What they did was they removed any barriers of entry to the Dust Bowl by making it free. It was free. And what happens when something's free? Well, the lessons of economics would tell you, when you artificially reduce the price of something to zero, you end up with shortages massively. But you can't have a shortage of land. That's not an issue. The issue was the actual grasses that the cattle were eating. So the cattle were going, the cattle farmers were like, well, I only have so much grass on my land, so let's take the cattle out and they'll eat the grass over there. And then when the grass is all gone over there, then I'll bring my cattle back. So they would like limit how much grass that the cattle would be able to eat on their land, and then they would bring it out, and then they would do that. But if every cattle farmer does this, then you're going to have tons and tons of cattle coming out, and they won't just eat the grass. They'll even eat the stuff because they're hungry. They'll even dig up the roots and eat that too. And then what happens when you don't have any root system anymore? Well, you can look up Dr. Alan Savory, and he does fantastic work on the reversing of desertification. This idea that if you want to bring back green lands to areas, grassy lands, and you want to reverse desertification, then what you do is you bring livestock, but then you have to manage holistic management of the whole thing. So what happens in a situation where they do all that? Well, the grass is gone. The grass is gone anymore. And then the farmers are then left with nothing that they can take. Now, the analogy there for the commie tools that I talk about at work is, what do you do when there's a tool that you own? How do you behave with that tool versus a tool that you don't own, that somebody else owns? Now, if you're talking about I have my ratchet, I have my snap-on ratchet, it's the best ratchet out there. Oh, I'm gonna wipe it clean before I put it in the drawer, and I'm gonna take care of it. And all my sockets are always clean, and they're always exactly where I want them. But then that one thing, there you go, G. Walter. It's respect, incentives. That's it. So what does the every guy do when he gets to the ball joint press and he's like, oh, somebody screwed up the cups and they don't do what they're supposed to do anymore, and then he uses it and it screws up the threads on the forcing screw, and then he's like, well, the last guy didn't care, why would I care? I'm just gonna put it back broken, and then this happens. It's called the problem of the commons. The problem of the commons is the idea that things that are in the common good, they always end up derelict and not neglected. There you go. Everything gets neglected. And we see this all throughout society. And anywhere where communism or socialism is brought into play and people don't have ownership and equity in the ownership of a thing, they might have possession of a thing, but they don't have equity in it. If you don't have equity in it, you don't have ownership. If you don't have ownership, you don't have respect for it, and you don't care. You won't need to do it. We see this on native reserves in Canada. It's tragic, really. It's tragic. You have native reserves where people are given a house to live in, but they're told if you ever move out of this house or you don't want to, you don't want to live in this house anymore, you give it up. You don't get anything for it. If you put money into it, you get nothing for that. If you take your hard-earned money and you redo the kitchen because you want the kitchen to be nicer, and then you move out, you just made a nicer kitchen for somebody else. So what do people do? They don't do any of that. They don't do any of that stuff. And then you have worse disincentives if things become derelict, then the government will come in and fix it for you. So you just leave it to be that. It was a very similar situation, because I'm not crapping on natives here. I'm saying that that's a horrible situation, but it was almost the same situation when it came to power lines in California back in the early 2000s. How does that compare? Well, let's talk about it. So how do these compare? Well, you don't have equity in a thing, and if it becomes derelict, then other people will take care of it for you, creating a disincentive for you to take care of it in the first place. Well, power companies, they own the power lines and they provided service to individuals. But the government came out with this great idea. Let's create a system that will come in and fix infrastructure in the case of an emergency. FEMA, they came out with this. They're like, FEMA is going to come in and do this. So then the power companies, believe it or not, but because of fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, because as soon as you know that you can save your shareholders money, it's actually your duty, your legally bound duty to take care of that. What did they have to do? They had to leave the power lines to be destroyed, to just be eaten up by nature. If they got a report, this power line's not doing so good, well, it hasn't fallen over yet, has it? Well, we're going to leave that one. Because if a storm rolls through and it takes that power line out, well, now they don't have to pay for it out of pocket. FEMA will pay for it. So it created this problem of the commons. And everybody loses in this scenario. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans with another $10. Thank you so much. Says, I was bidding on a lithograph of Pierre Augusta, is that how you pronounce it? Renoir, that he signed back in 1904. I badly wanted it, but I bid it up to $1,200, but chickened out. It was sold for $2,500. I have regrets now. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on that. That would be another cool item. Not on the top of my list, but the Little Red Book would be something to have in the collection, that's for sure. But yes, the problem with commons is a huge one. It's massive, and this is why I think there's moves to bring more equity into things, bring more equity into people's lives. Now, of course, not in Canada. In Canada, we're trying to limit equity. We're trying to get rid of equity, get people out of that area. But there are some good liberty movements, liberty-oriented movements that are happening just south of us, especially one little state, one little peninsula that jets into the Gulf of America by the name of Florida, which is doing some really, really cool things. I need you guys to see this. This is amazing. So this is DeSantis saying, we have an opportunity next year on giving people constitutional protections with this property tax situation. Have a listen here.
But we have an opportunity, well now,
So quiet.
at least temporarily, but certainly as we go to the ballot next year on protecting, giving people constitutional protections for their own property and really strong protection with this whole property tax situation. So we're working hard on it. It can absolutely be done. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And I think that's the best way that we can relieve the burden on folks. There's been a lot of increases in prices over the last 4 years plus, and we know there's a lot of reasons for that. The housing situation is one where there's a lot of people that wanted to move to Florida. Part of it was inflation. There's a lot going on. And you could be living in your house and all of a sudden they're telling you it's worth twice as much and that you have to pay more tax. And that's not easy for people. And they will never assess it lower if the housing market tanks. They'll only assess it higher if they can get more tax money from you. So
He's talking about a situation that we have in Canada. We have this everywhere. You own your own home, but then they assess the property value of your home at this price. What is he talking about? He's talking about getting rid of property tax in Florida. Like getting rid of it. Completely getting rid of it. This is actually a point where you would actually own your land. Because at this point, you don't own your land. You don't own your land. Not if at the end of the day, the tax man comes to you and says, you owe me this money for owning the land. And if at the end of the day you can't pay that tax, then you will take the land from you. Well, then you don't own it. You're renting it. And he's really addressing that here.
So we're on to that, and we're going to do something about it. So we'd appreciate your support for that. And you got great legislators here who I know want to do it, but we need to make sure everyone in the legislature is on board for property tax relief. Okay, we got any questions back?
So that's awesome as it is, but here he goes into it even further. This is awesome.
So the one objection that I hear is, well, this property tax revenue, fine, like a Miami, they have a lot of tourists. They can do like hotel tax or something. They could do something if they needed to backfill revenue. And obviously they should be focused on reducing spending, but let's say they had to do that. But some of our rural, fiscally constrained counties, wouldn't necessarily be able to do that because they don't have the same stream. We ran the numbers, and if you completely eliminated property tax on every primary resident, homesteaded residence for a Florida resident, for all, we have like 28, 30 fiscally constrained counties, something like that. To backfill all that revenue would be $300 million a year, which for us is easy to do with our surplus. Now, I wouldn't say
$300 million is not that much money. Let's just, like, on a governmental scheme of things, that's legit not that much money. So for him to say that all they got to do is backfill that with I don't know, revenue from other things, that's amazing. To the point that you would own your own property, like legitimately.
You would backfill 100% of it because they need to make some adjustments too. But those who say, oh, well, the rural areas wouldn't be able to, I'm totally willing to offer a bridge financially from the state if it means that we can get people to get property tax relief. So I think, like, every way we look at it, there's ways to get this done. We just got to have leadership.
Just got to have leadership. And that's what they seem to have down south. It's not what it seems that we have here in Canada. Why should you pay freaking taxes on stuff that you already own? Absolutely. Absolutely. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that absolutely ridiculous? Now, I understand, but this is the thing. So the mentality's got to go. The mentality's got to go. And we've got to nip it in the bud every step of the way. The mentality of socialism, which has come into play over so long, is that we need to have a fee that everybody pays, but then not everybody uses the services. That's not good. Pay for the services that you use. Absolutely. Pay for the services that you use. If you are going to use a road, you're going to use the water, you're going to use these different things. Pay for the services. Anytime that they come in Canada and say that, we might put a meter on your water, people freak out. How dare you monitor what water usage I'm doing? of course, we want to monitor the usage of your home, but you might turn around one day and charge me for it. Well, that might be a thing, but we could stop taxing you if we actually charged you for it. How about that? How about everybody doesn't pay for the usage of only a few people? Because that's really, at the end of the day, how it actually works. Every time they are renovating an airport, there is an extra tax. Absolutely. My city only picks up garbage now every 2 weeks, but increased my taxes. Oh man, they're really good at that. My mortgage is $2,300 a month. That's insane. That's a lot. I wish it was that cheap for me, though. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man. I'm stuck in this trap I'm in limbo. You guys might have seen the video this morning on the second channel. By the way, subscribe to the second channel if you haven't already. Make sure that you're over there, because yeah, you all should be subscribed to the second channel. Do I have the second channel up to show you guys? Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the second channel. It's the Do Something podcast. We're doing a lot of stuff there. There's been a lot of content coming out, and a lot of it's like little tidbits from the live streams, tidbits from other shows. So you might think, oh, well, I'm not gonna watch that. It's redundant. Well, if you watch every single show, then it may be. But if you didn't catch everything, we're catching little things that we know that the audience possibly missed, or a large part of the audience has largely possibly missed. So head on over there and make sure you give it a subscribe. If enough of you guys do that tonight, we might hit 5,000 on the channel. I mean, it's very, very small, humble beginnings. That's where we're at with that. We'll see. Make it happen, guys. Oh, we just hit 5,000. Okay. Okay, it happened. Thank you. That's awesome. But keep coming with it, because there's a lot of good stuff that's going on the second channel. My talk about why I'm moving to America, that went up today, quite a hit, for the second channel, obviously. So great. I'm glad. Good to get more of this info out there and just have like another avenue, because you never know what might happen to the main channel, as well as there's other stuff that I want to share, and the algorithm doesn't like you to share this and then this kind of stuff on the same channel. So gotta diversify for that reason. That's exactly what it's about. What is the link to the second channel? Oh, let me put that in the put that right in the chat for you guys. There you go. There's the link to the second channel. Go on over there, subscribe, and excuse me. Let's have Clyde pronounce that. Haha. Pronounce what? I missed it. Hacksaw Jim Duggan? What? Where are we going with this, guys? Where are we going with this? Yeah, I was just excited to share that. Some other good things that are coming out of the United States right now. This was fantastic. These are great because these can be examples. In the super chat, did I miss a super chat? Oh, I'm a jerk. I totally missed that one. We pay land taxes, so this is from Daifechu. I hope I'm pronouncing that. I always think I'm getting it wrong. For $10, he says we pay land taxes so that they can rename street to scams. Like WTF is that? It's called wokeism. It's called bending to the will. And the only reason why people do that stuff is so that you bend to their will. Come on. Like, changing the names to made-up names with a made-up alphabet. I'm sorry. It's a virtue signal. The alphabet itself is a virtue signal. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Indigenous people in Canada, but there was no written language. So you can't just like ipso facto make up some new Sanskrit out of Roman characters and Arabic numerals with like accent aigus from French, and then call it a new written language, like whatever. Don't care. Like I don't care what the arguments are for that. I'm not interested. It's just telling me that I'm supposed to do, and I'm not gonna. It has no value. Anti-colonialism is street name. Underground what? The whole thing with the water meters is that they did exactly what you said. Put it in the meters and then started charging people for the water they use in their house. Yeah, they should. They should charge you for the water that you use in your house, but then not have to pay taxes that go to the water treatment plant. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I'd rather pay for the things that I use. So I'll pay per liter or whatever. But don't also send me a bill for the water treatment plant in some other way. That all should economically work in that. And it works. It's a viable solution, because if they say, oh, water usage is too high, well, if you're paying for it, you're not just going to willy-nilly just turn the taps on or let your pipes go derelict and leak all over the place. That's just it's just the way it works. Absolutely. Okay, I need to catch up on the chat here. Jilly Bean saying, okay, I get what you're saying, but we're paying property taxes still. Yeah, those have to go. Yeah, those have to go. That's what I'm getting at. You can't do both. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't be double dipping, but we should be getting rid of the property taxes, lowering them, getting rid of them, whatever we can do. They're moving in the right direction in the United States on this fight. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans with another $10 super chat. Very generous tonight. Thank you so much. Clyde, if we ever meet, I'll give you the Little Red Book. It was published in 1967 and a second edition. I wonder where my dad got it. My dad was a handler of Morris Childs, probably from him. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, well, maybe we'll meet at one of those meetups. Frank Vaughn is texting me. I wonder if you... Do you want to give people a little update on the show? I'm live right now. I liked what you were talking about in your show today. Frank Vaughn's the man. He's such a dude. He's such a dude. I should tell him. The chat says hi. By the way, the chat says hi. Oh, Frank's a dude. I thought property taxes were for roads, sewers, etc., and schools. Yeah, well, they keep extending what the whole point of these things are. Yeah. No, they've include water treatment plants. They include all kinds of other things, and that's where the money goes. Now it's interesting. Like I see, so where I live in Squamish, BC, I've seen them completely waste the money, like completely waste all that money. Frank says hi, Clyde's chat. Do you want to do a quick call in for as long as your voice can hang in? So he's got these like coughing fits. He can't get over it. I don't know. It's not a contagious thing, he said on his show. He's texting back, which means it's not. That might be a no. Frank Vaughn. I pay transit levies as part of my property tax, right? This is the thing. You may never use that transit, but you have to pay all that stuff. Frank has GERD. What is GERD? Property tax is now paying for feminine products in men's public washrooms. It's crazy. It's crazy where all this money's going to. Franco from Vaughn? I would, but I think I've done all the talking I can get done out today. Oh, yeah. Okay. Also, look unshaved and janky. No, I meant to call in on the telephone, like just to say hi to the chat. Only brief. Yeah, look at you guys. Yeah, Frank. Dude, lol. You do not. You do not. What is GERD? Is GERD like some thing you can catch? Sure. Okay, I'm calling Frank. Okay, we're going speakerphone. I don't know if he's watching the show. We want Frank.
What's going on?
My man. So the chat's like, we want Frank. Bring Frank on.
So what is the phone just jammed into the microphone?
Yeah, that's right. We're sharing a mic right now.
Right on. So what are you talking about right now? I was in there a little bit before, but I haven't been in there for a bit.
So I was talking about property taxes. So that was the subject that came up because what's happening right now in Florida is DeSantis is looking to remove property taxes in Florida.
That's great.
Right? And I was like, this is the ultimate libertarian thing. And I was saying that, you know, Canada has a hard time with this because the socialist sort of mentality of the average Canadian doesn't like to look at a way of like paying for the services that you use. Like if you have to pay for the roads that you use, you have to pay for the water, you have to pay for all these things that are typically paid in property taxes. People can't wrap their head around going with like the libertarian approach of pay for what you use and nothing else. You don't have to pay into this pool, right?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that works out in Florida, if he's actually going to do it, if he actually gets it passed.
Well, yeah.
I know where I lived in Eastern Ontario, I certainly didn't feel like I was getting value for my tax dollars. Here, it's a little bit different. I swear, like they're grading my road every 2 weeks, which is amazing. But yeah, be interested to see a different model.
I know in British Columbia, so property values have skyrocketed, and that means that they've gotten so much more taxes. In my town alone, like it's doubled. It's doubled in a decade. So the property taxes that they've gotten not only have doubled, but they've doubled and doubled on top of that by the property values going way up. And what we get for it is like they haven't even built a new hospital. We've doubled the amount of people we have, and we don't even have another hospital.
Yeah, back east, the road that I lived on was paved, but the municipality didn't pave it. It was actually a gravel pit down the road that paid to pave the road. We had garbage pickup, but we had to pay $4.25 per bag of garbage at the road. So the only thing I could figure that we got was snow removal, and it cost thousands of dollars a year because nobody, like it was a private company that maintained the road. You're paying per bag for the garbage. Out here, it's a little different, but I mean, they had a very nice, big, beautiful municipal building where all the councilors could get together.
Yeah.
Lots of empty space, all of it heated, marble floors and glass walls. Absolutely gorgeous for a small town in Eastern Ontario. But yeah, out here, I pay taxes to it's like a little portable room that's set up in a yard. It's like this little tiny house, and every time I drive by it, I'm like, I'm so proud that I pay taxes to the derelict house right there. I mean, I see work being done. Like, I mean, the parks in Saskatchewan for the kids are beautiful, and the arenas and the indoor pools. The services are amazing, and like the roads are so well kept compared to Ontario. And I find it incredible because the tax base in Ontario was so much larger and taxes were so much more per $100,000 of value in your house. Mm-hmm. Services sucked in comparison. Like the services here are so much more efficient in my view. And also the land prices are much more stable. It's not driven by speculation, so everything's a little bit more predictable.
Mm-hmm.
How's I mean to ask you, how's the fire going?
Oh, so the fire has been moving northbound, which is like away from population.
That's good.
They managed to keep it from. I'll pop the image on the screen so people can see what I'm talking about. So the fire has moved away from the population area. They managed to keep it off of. There's like a ridge that if it went over that ridge, it would have gone into an area that has tons and tons of woods, and not just woods, but like we're talking, too much forest floor fuel, and it's just because we just have not been managing it, because there's like hippies that have moved in and we're like, isn't this so beautiful? This awesome, really old growth forests. You're like, dude, this is logged like 100 times. Like, this is a logging town. What do you think? They never got the trees from this area? So yeah, it's crazy. But it's full of fuel. And if it went over that ridge, it would have been headed right for my neighborhood. I'm not kidding.
I don't think people can wrap their heads around how quick trees grow in BC, in areas of BC. Like, not talking the interior, but along the coast. It's the growth rings are huge. So you can log an area, and 20 years later, you can pretty well come back and log it again.
And that's what they used to do in this town in Squamish. But yeah, ever since they, like I said, the hippies moved in, and they're like, oh, but it's such a beautiful place. Let's not do anything. They don't even want fire breaks, because like, oh, it's an eyesore. I just spent $30 billion on this property. I don't want a big eyesore by view. I'm like, okay, well, you know what's an eyesore? Your house burning down.
How did hippies get so rich? When did it become hippies in $5 to $6 million homes? Like, the other one that I don't get is punk rock. Like, Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols. Those are really wealthy dudes. I don't understand how wealth and punk rock go together.
I think it's intellectual property.
Right.
Something that anarchists seem to care a lot about these days.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it all goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Moral selectivism rather than moral relativism.
Yeah. Rage Man's putting a ragman in the chat, says royalties, LOL. Yeah, it's royalties. So they're making money off of old Sex Pistols songs from forever ago.
Yep.
Amazing. So what did you catch? What do you have, Frank, that's made you not be able to speak on your show?
I don't know if it's the climate here, because of climate change. No, I don't know if it's I've never had this issue before, but since I moved here 3 years ago, I've had it twice now, where I got a small cold, had a sore throat for a couple of days, had a bit of a runny nose, got over that, but then it turns into basically pneumonia. Whether it's, and I don't know if it's, I don't know what type of pneumonia it is, but it's either pneumonia or bronchitis. I don't know which it is. I haven't gone to a doctor, but it's if by Monday it's not showing steady signs of improvement, I'll probably go seek a doctor. But it's some kind of, it's my lungs, and it's I don't want to get TMI here. It's pretty disgusting, but it just,
yeah, you got the lung butter and all that stuff. It's just not not fun.
Like I've never had it before, but I had it in January of 2023, and now I've got it now. And I mean, it's summertime, like you don't usually have this stuff, and it's clearly not contagious because no one else in the house has it. So I'm about a week and a half in now.
Dude.
So yeah, basically, I can't talk at full volume like you guys. I feel sorry for your chat. You can probably barely hear me, but
well, I'm shoving the phone right into the microphone. So
I'm sorry, dude. If I talk louder, I'll be coughing up a lung. But,
yeah, fair enough. Well, I won't keep you on the phone then. Thanks for joining though.
Oh, no problem, man. Sorry I couldn't come in a larger fashion.
No, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry.
And hi, hello to the chat.
Hello to the chat from Frank Vaughn. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you later. If you want to pop in and chill with us in the Discord afterwards, you're always welcome. You can just listen for the most part. That doesn't hurt your lungs.
Yeah, right on, Clyde. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Talk to you later. Frank Vaughn, ladies and gents, he's what a champ, and he's got the lung butter. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that at all. He's definitely feeling the effects of climate change. Feel better, Frank. Absolutely, feel better, Frank. Frank's great. Frank's a soldier, and he keeps soldiering on. Man, is he doing good stuff? Doing good stuff? Go check out his show today. He was talking about the whole situation with the Iran. There was attacks. I guess Israel launched an attack on Iran, and getting into the whole geopolitics of that. I've been steering clear of that stuff. Not because here's the thing. I kind of know my lane, but at the same time, it takes a lot of energy to look into that stuff and get into it, and it's always ever changing. So I've largely I use Frank as a source on that stuff. Let's just be honest. So yeah, it's very complicated. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and I definitely have the interests that I want to bring to the table and talk with people about, and Frank is so well versed on that. So if you're looking for any of that information on that stuff, go check out Frank's channel. And let me pop it up on the page here, so everybody knows who I'm talking about, and I'm spelling things wrong. Here we go. Boom. Let me get that up on the screen. Get yourself over to Frank Vaughn's channel. He is killing it. He's doing such amazing work. Here's the link right there. If you are not subscribed as of yet, get on over there and remedy that and get over and become a subscriber. Let's talk about some other things. I wanted to talk about this. This is a very important story for me. I think this is, and I should give him a follow because he's doing good work. This is a big problem in Canada right now. This was kind of a problem in the United States. It's no longer going to be a problem because they're alleviating this problem. This is Congressman Rudy Yakum, and he's doing the Lord's work. He's doing everybody's work. He's getting things done for the voter base, and he's getting things done. So we're not absolutely hit with what would you even call this? Just like an insane automotive economy that doesn't need to be with quotas and whatnot.
Hey Hoosiers, Congressman Rudy Yakum here. I'm just walking out of the White House where, thanks to the leadership of President Trump, he just signed a Congressional Review Act overturning the disastrous California electric vehicle mandates. This is something that is so important to Indiana's 2nd District, being the RV capital of the world. They would not have been able to make drivable RVs anymore under this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Thanks to the leadership of President Trump, we are restoring common sense once again in this country.
Absolutely.
Hey, Hoosiers.
Imagine that. Mandating that RVs have to be all electric. Get out of town. Now, there are a lot of electric campers, like tow behind campers that have like battery banks and that kind of thing. That's smart. It's great. What a great idea. Do that up. That's fantastic. Hybrids, fantastic idea. If they wanted to do that with campers and things like that, but that should be a market decision. This isn't where the government, stay out of it. Stay out of it. Because as soon as the government decides what works in business, we saw this with Obama, Stellantis, what $6 billion they gave to a company. It stopped them from bankruptcy for 6 months. They still went bankrupt within 6 months. It's crazy. And they're mandating EVs on people. So they did the hard work and they got rid of the mandates. They got rid of the mandates. There's still the encouragement, hey, let's be more efficient. Let's be better with the things that we're doing. Is Tesla moving in the right direction? Sure. There's a lot of people that are happy that all they do is they putt around town and all they need is an electric vehicle. My buddy recently, he came and visited me. Big shout out to my buddy Jimmy from Whistler. He just bought himself an electric vehicle. It was not a Tesla. It was something else. But he got himself an electric vehicle because it made sense for his life and his lifestyle and for what he was doing. But if you cannot mandate this stuff on people. You cannot just mandate new technologies on people, especially in industries where it just does not make sense. Trucking, RVs, look at this, RVs, that kind of thing. You would put an RV company out of business overnight because there's nobody wanting to buy an RV that they're going to travel across the country in that has to plug in every couple of hours or whenever, right? This is really crazy. Danielle Smith has been pushing for canceling the EV mandates. Yeah, let's hope so. So, but this is something that's not happening in Canada as it stands right now. In Canada, we have EV mandates. What is this right here? David Clyde saying, Ford CEO tells Mark Carney to can the EV mandate. So even the industry's coming out and saying, forget it. Government needs to mind their own business and end the madness trying to ban our gas cars. Let's forget about calling it just an EV mandate. It is a gas ban. This is what it is. It's a slow roll gas ban. What they're doing is 2026. It is so close. We are so close. 2026. We are halfway through 2025. It's June. We're halfway through. We're already over halfway through. It's Friday the 13th, by the way. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. But this is the craziest thing. So we're going to mandate EVs. What does that mean? That means every manufacturer, including Ford here, they would have to make 20% of all of the cars that they sell in Canada have to be EVs. So does 20% of all the car buyers in Canada want to buy EVs? Nope. 20% of vehicles sold in British Columbia, EVs. Cool. That number is actually going down. Quebec, 20%. They hit their 20%. The rest of Canada? Nope. Is it broken up between provinces? Nope. It's all of Canada. So all of Canada is going to have this mandate on EV sales. So that means every manufacturer is only going to be able to, they're going to have a quota. So they'll make these pre-sales for EVs, which will give them the numbers that they're allowed to sell in automotive cars. You know how much economic activity is just going to come to a screeching halt overnight with this crazy mandate. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says, fossil fuels have the BTUs you need when you need the BTUs. Yeah, straight up. They have the jewels. They got the family jewels. They got balls. They got the cojones that you need right now to get moving, to get your stuff going. That's what's going on. And you know what's even more efficient than an EV? A hybrid. Absolutely. It's more efficient. It depends on where you're at, but if you're in a place where you're getting your electricity from coal-fired plants, do you think a coal-fired plant way across giving you electricity through transformers stepping up, power losses, transmission lines, transformers stepping it back down, going to your house, then you're stepping it to another transformer, an inverter, you're switching it to DC, and you're creating a tremendous amount of heat, and you're putting it in your car? What do you think is more efficient? That or an internal combustion engine that could work at its premium, at its top efficiency range, charging up your car as you drive? That works way better. It's way more efficient. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of these mandates for obvious reasons, but this is the economy that they're just really trying to do. Do you like Honda's version of hybrid on the Civics. I haven't seen the Civic Hybrid, and I haven't seen how they worked that one. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Toyotas, the Toyota hybrids. The way they did it with the RAV4. Those things are the hybrids are actually peppier. They have more power than the regular gas ones on the RAV4s anyway. A few years ago, I got my mechanic, or I asked my mechanic if I should buy a hybrid. He said no. I'm in the USA. Depends on the hybrid. Depends on the hybrid. If you're talking about an electric car that runs off electricity, right? So the motor is electric. What drives the car is electric, and you have a battery bank and an engine that charges up that battery bank, and then it works off of that. Super efficient. Great idea. Fantastic. Hybrids are still too pricey. Yes, you're right. But so are flat screen TVs. But that's the thing. There's early adopters will buy the flat screen TVs, and then next thing you know, you can't get a tube TV. Everybody's got flat screen, and then now the next thing's the OLED, and you're like, whoa, they're thousands of dollars. Oh, 20 minutes went by. Now I can buy one for $500 at Walmart. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is how markets work. Yeah, the hybrids are more expensive, but that's only a blip in the grand scheme of things. Wasn't Toyota? Where was I? Wasn't Toyota the first to have the modern hybrid with the Prius? They were, and it was a good go. It was a good go. Let me be serious about this. The Prius, while it was a stupid looking car, I mean it was an Echo, but dumber looking. And while it was dumb looking and it didn't really have much balls or any of that stuff, they were a great little car. And for the people that bought them and enjoyed them, they totally, Clyde, I want to know more about Alberta independence. Well, I'll bring more stories about that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the people who bought the Priuses and then kept them going. Apparently, there's a whole market of Priuses on Vancouver Island, and the problem was they used nickel metal hydride batteries in the Priuses, so that's why they didn't really have that much jam. So it is what it is. It was a small battery bank. The new Prius is actually great looking now. 100 more horses now too. Yeah, okay, sweet. The original ones were dumb looking. Like I said, it looked like an Echo but dumber. And again, older technology, not as good. The best part of what Tesla did. So Elon Musk, he didn't invent the electric car. Let's not kid ourselves here. But what he did was he worked with engineers to come up with better designs for a brushless motor. And went and realized that the best way to go is with a 3-phase AC, which we could pull off now with modern electronics and MOSFETs and like big transistors, that kind of thing. And we can make inverters that will convert high voltage DC electricity into high voltage AC 3-phase, which is fantastic. For some people, this is going to make a lot of sense. For some people, that's going to be just gobbledygook, right? Whatever. What he did was he worked with engineers, and they've really massively improved brushless electric motors that can work on batteries. And that's how that all worked. And inversely, use those motors to actually, charge up the car as well if you're going down a hill or something like that. Edison got it going on. Yes. So this is where things have gone in the right direction. Tesla, while they made improvements that were, they were very good improvements. They didn't invent it, but they made really good improvements. And so because they made improvements on the technology, they would have had patents on those things. What they did was they opened up the patents and they said, Everybody use it. Go for it. Use the technology. It's awesome. We love it. You'll love it. And it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do because what they were investing in was in battery technology, Tesla. So they're still way ahead of everybody else in battery technology. And if they put everybody into the electric cars, then a lot of these manufacturers would end up having to buy batteries from them and then rebrand them and that kind of thing. But this is where the Canadian government's like, no, we're going to get into the battery industry, and it's ridiculous. But yes, the Priuses were good for what they were at the time. Nickel metal hydride, not a great battery storage system, just because you can't discharge it at a good rate to get good power. Now with lithium batteries and brushless motors, all this stuff, it's really good now. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for $5. Thank you so much. Says solar power is not and will never be efficient on Earth. Solar power would be efficient out of the atmosphere of Earth. Yeah. The return on investment is not great. There are efficient uses for it, but like we're not talking powering cities and stuff like that. Yeah, there you go. Sandy saying exactly what I'm saying. Solar's good on small scale. Absolutely. There are efficient uses for it. So don't throw it out, but it's not it's not, and like they've made some really ridiculous things with solar. They have these like they're mirror farms in the desert in the United States where the mirrors are all pointing with like electronic servos to readjust the mirrors, and they point at this thing in the middle to like heat up water to like boil it and then generate electricity. It was a big fail. It was a big failure. Most of the time they would end up having to bring in energy to make up for the not enough power from the sun. It was just really bad. It was just really, really bad, actually. But so as Canada gets into the battery technology, they're still arguing for the case, even though all these companies, even though we paid them billions of dollars, they took our money and then they left. They left the country just because it's not viable. Ryan Garrett's in here with a thing. Holy crap, we're doomed. Jolie has no idea what she's doing or talking about. This is embarrassingly bad. This is being said in front of the automotive sector. They probably can't believe what they're hearing. This is Melanie Jolie talking to professionals at a professional meeting in the automotive sector.
But these investments that we've
let's go.
supported are particularly important as their battery plants. Battery plants are good for the EV sector, but they're good also for other sectors of the economy. And so that is something that we're looking at because essentially they can be applicable.
Because we don't have any customers? That's what you're saying. We don't have any customers. So what are we doing? Why are we still trying to peddle batteries? Honestly.
Applicable to many industrial sectors that need basically energy in a box, which is a battery.
Wow.
So I want you to think about that.
Woo.
Because it's not only linked to EVs. Now, but
because I want you to think about that, because the condescension is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. This is the kind of thing that comes out of our government in Canada. They're talking to people in industry. What are they just keep failing up. They just keep failing up. How does this happen? How is it that our government has this much power that they're doing keynote speeches to people that they have no idea anything about their industry, and yet they're in there trying to teach them about their own thing? It's just so absurd. It's so absurd. Yeah, those things need batteries too. Give me liberty. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Wow. Okay. Okay. Be born rich or get elected. Corruption. There you go. I can't stand listening to those crooks. Yeah, and that's why I've largely turned off. I've turned off from what is it, the Parliament for the moment. Anyway, I just couldn't handle it for the moment. And other people are waking up to this. I love it. I love it. Here's Jasper Sunshine waking up to this stuff, just getting it. Like it's becoming too obvious. So this is what's happening.
I'm sorry for saying this, but there's something seriously wrong with the Conservatives. Maybe I've got cabin fever. Maybe I'm angry post-election. Or maybe now that the hype of Pierre and the Conservatives is dwindling down, I'm seeing the party and how they work as for what it is. There's something seriously wrong with the advisors on the Conservative Party. And
oh, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. Diane Sylvain for $10 says AI like saying this. CO2 emissions studies have shown that for every ton of lithium mined, nearly 15 tons of CO2 are released. Also, lithium mining has huge environmental impacts. Absolutely does. Absolutely does. Now, if you were to switch from the idea of going with full battery electric cars, or going with internal combustion engine hybrids that have a smaller battery bank, you're talking about having even lower the amount of lithium that's needed in the marketplace. So that's the thing. Absolutely. Harry Ludwig gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. If anyone just got a membership, make sure to give them big old thanks in the chat. Look at all these people that got memberships. Awesome. Thank you so much. Harry, really appreciate that. Thank you. And Diane, thank you so much as well for the super chat comment. But let's get back to Jasper here.
Conservative Party and the advisors want to see the Conservative Party tank or something. There's some weird self-sabotaging shit going on. Pierre Poilievre trying to do a press conference at the same time as question period is ridiculous. I get that sometimes opposition party leaders, they talk.
Good evening, Spider-Man. We got Spider-Man in the chat. Welcome. Oh, no problem from Harry Ludwig. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
To the cameras right before question period goes live. The NDP did it successfully. The NDP was successfully able to talk to reporters right before question period went live. Pierre didn't. Pierre is not acting like a politician. He's acting like a freaking influencer who's late to his own live stream. It's actually gross. It's a gross look. And today's question period is gross. Look, I have conservative values. I'm pro-conservative. It's not even a discussion that I'm pro-Pierre. I tried so hard to educate people on the fact that it's so important that the Conservatives need to win. But now they are just dropping the bag. I don't know what the hell is wrong with them. Everyone's angry with the GC strategies, $64 million Arrive scam,
$100 million
thing that they pulled off, yeah. Right? Couple of weirdos got a cabin, filled it with old computer equipment, and like, hey, look, yeah, we're building this app, we're working hard on it every day. It was like the biggest fraud Canada's experienced, and it was all out in the public. It was insane. We all saw it. So now the Conservatives are going, well, where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? The Liberals have been saying, okay, well, we basically banned GC strategies for the next 7 years from having any contracts with the government. Great. All it takes is one time for me to hear that and for me to say, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, they're banned. So what are some follow-up questions that you can ask? Well, me sitting here in my RV, not wearing pants, by the way.
He's going on with that. Oh, Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says batteries are the wrong way to think about solar. To make solar game changing, the solar power must be direct to the consumer. There's another way of doing solar. You can use water as a battery bank, where solar pumps water up into a reservoir, and then when you need the power, it runs down and powers a generator. That's another way of doing it. So there's a bunch of ways. Canadian Spider-Man says, try to be here as much as possible, but I moderate for a big channel at this time every Friday, so I'm here to lurk for moral support. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. That's awesome. That's really cool. Free Energy by Nikola Tesla. Yeah, if you look into that, the best explainer, I can't remember who gave this explainer, because Joe Rogan was asking about it. Was, well, what if Nikola Tesla's energy were to come true, and they just pump the ionosphere with a bunch of electricity, and then anytime we needed to take it down, we just like pull it out of the air, and then everything's energized all the time. You could just use that. Well, we would never have had the electronic solid state revolution. Never would have happened, because anytime we would have put that stuff together, it would have energized and blown up in our hands. That's it's a big problem, broadcasting energy like that. So yeah, that would be an issue. We'd kiss everything goodbye. Computers, cell phones, all of that stuff. It would not even exist. So I sent Jasper a message, by the way. I sent Jasper a message, and I said, yo, we need to get together and chat about this, because this is a great story. I think this is great. He's waking up. A lot of people are waking up to this idea that the conservatives, you know, he's alluding to, like, they're not trying to win or whatever. I don't think that that's what he's insinuating, but it's like that's what it looks like, right? It looks like that. Like, what do you have no? You're not even trying. What the hell? People are really upset, and this is where I was on about it. I kept saying, like, the conservatives, this isn't your election to lose. Don't think that you can just like play it your way, because people are gonna get mad. Here's the thing. They played it just like the classic conservatives, like they did with O'Toole, like they did with Scheer, you know, garner a bunch of support, but then when the general election comes, like, cower and hide away with your conservative ideas and come out with strong, trying to sound like a liberal, and then the liberals just sound like better conservatives than you do, and everybody doesn't vote for you. That's what happened. Pierre became someone else when the election was called. PBD said it best. Pierre didn't play to win. Yeah, he didn't become. It's crazy. It's crazy. I tweeted about it today. What did I say? I said something along the lines of, like, you know, the conservatives have a way of taking people and taking a great candidate and turning them fake and plastic, and then nobody likes them. That's what they did to Pierre. I really like old Pierre. Like, Pierre was great. He just constantly on it about the fiscal problems, about the issues economically that we're having in the country. And you can go back and you can watch all these different, like, meetings that he's had, and he was going hard. But yeah, no, just like whimpered right out. But, you know, he got his LASIK surgery and his new do, and what good does that do? Who cares? Like, stop thinking that all Canada is just a bunch of liberals. Stop thinking that, because how did the liberals win this go around? They convinced Canada that they were more conservative than the conservatives. That's how they won. That's how they won. It's just people in the West didn't buy it and went with the conservatives because there was a gut feeling, and everybody who was propagandized east of Manitoba was just like, okay, sounds good to me, you know. Crazy, absolutely insane. You guys are like 93% of the way there. Yeah, no, you're talking about blackpilling and blah blah blah. Now, I totally agree. I wanted the conservatives to get in because I think that the institutions are broken in Canada. I wanted a conservative supermajority that would become very ineffectual, because all the bureaucracy, the Senate, all these things would just like completely shut them down, and that would be amazing, because that would wake more people up. Is it late in Texas? Someone tell Solar howdy. So glad to be here and good tonight. It's a different time zone in Texas, but I'm on the West Coast still. I don't know who are you talking about in Texas. Liberals copied Pierre a lot, absolutely, but they did it convincingly though. That's the thing. They were able to, they were able to convince people, and did they do it? They do it successfully. Oh boy. And you know what? Like, it's crazy. There are like captured people all over the place. In the U.S. right now, there's a bunch of captured people. It's hilarious. Well, it's tragic for people that are in the area where, you know, these riots and stuff are happening, like California, things like that. If your, you know, property is being destroyed because of that. I love this meme. I just have to share this one. It's a guy pointing out, hey, that's odd. The looters skipped this store. You know, Father's Day cards and work boots store. Somebody needs to make that store a real thing. A Father's Day boots and Father's Day cards and work boots store. As if those are like just two things that just really go hand in hand. And you know what? If a bunch of liberals riot in my town, I'm totally safe. They won't come in at all. That's the way it's going. But you know what? If those, because here, this is a big issue, and I talked about this earlier this week. There's plans to go all over the United States and pull these riots off like everywhere. They have this like, what is it? In America, we don't have kings. NoKings.com or .org. They've defied our courts. They've deported Americans, disappeared people from the streets. They're not doing disappearing people from the streets. They're deporting illegals. Like, and people are going around saying, well, you know, be it illegal or not having the right status is a civil matter. It's a civil crime or whatever. It's the same as jaywalking. Yeah, it ain't. It's actually criminal code territory. If you overstay a visa, criminal code. If you cross the border into the country, criminal code. If you lie about the visa that you claim you're a visitor and then you don't visit, you stay. Criminal code offense. Yeah, you are not. It's not just a civil matter. It's not the civil courts. That kind of thing. No, you know, you actually broken a law, and the punishment for that is being deported. And if you've been previously deported and try to enter the country again illegally, if you illegally enter the country after having once been deported, it's a felony. Get this through your heads, folks. It's crazy. But this is the whole thing. They want to start these protests all over the place. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 5 says, Clyde, I watched the original Gamera movies. They were not on of the Toho quality. Where that is completely off topic. I'll talk to you about that later. Jump in the Discord. Love to have you. By the way, moderators, put in the chat the link to the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord community, usually I leave it to late in the stream to talk about the Discord. I did talk about it earlier. So if you're coming in later, we like to hang out late after the live stream in the Discord. So I'm always there on Fridays, but we only ever put the link to it in the live streams. So it's kind of an exclusive club. So if you want to be part of it, jump in. It's free. It's free to use. It's another social media platform, but it's a great place for voice and video chats with large groups, which is really cool. So getting back to this, June 14th, we're rise up. We're going to rise up all over the country, they say, which is actually unbelievably funded. The partners in this is crazy. They have like even Bernie Sanders himself. I'm once again asking for your financial contribution, coming in and funding this kind of thing. They've got a lot of corporate sponsors to bring, I don't know, bricks, cinder blocks, masks to these people to go do this stuff, which is illegal. We'll see how this all plays out in the court of law. But when it comes to Florida, they're, again, Florida's coming up in this live stream. We're talking about Florida a lot tonight. Not having it. And one of the another awesome sheriff in Florida. This is Brevard County Sheriff. Total legend. Just lays it out on the. This is how it's gonna go, folks.
So I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street.
Oof. Don't want that.
If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have
Big, beautiful dogs. I love it.
If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
Graveyard
dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
Beautiful. Holy cow. This is how law and order sounds. And when I hear this, I don't feel afraid for my safety. Not one bit whatsoever. And a lot of people say, this is, the left will say, this is crazy. They're going nuts. They're within every legal, this is all within their rights as law enforcement. They're just making it clear before you show up that this is what's going to happen to you if you start pulling off what they were pulling off in California. Don't think that you're going to come to Florida and you're just going to be able to do what it was that they were doing over there. And let me tell you, these are the consequences, and they are not kidding. They are not kidding. These are the real consequences. Because, you might have your firecrackers and your things, and you may show up armed. But guess what? They're armed too. They're armed, and they have a license to take care of that community, and they have the authority to do so. And this is what I really, really love about this. Yeah, FAFO. This is a perfect FAFO exact circumstance. But you know what this is going to do? This is going to thwart from people from even trying, which is great. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. So that's the thing. They'll try it in LA. They'll do the things in LA. Go for it. Because clearly over the past decade or so, LA has been slowly walking towards lawlessness, absolute lawlessness. They even made it. Did you know this? They made it illegal, or they made it legal to steal. Like anything under $500, they're just not even going to prosecute. They just won't. So what happens when that happens? What happens when the DA just says, we're not going to prosecute anything under $500? Well, then that means that the law officers on the streets are not going to arrest anybody if it's under $500. They have no incentive. They're not going to get, it's called deterrence. Yeah, exactly. They're not. I think it was $1,000, Clyde. Okay, maybe it was $1,000. Maybe I was wrong on that. So, what was the result of that? All over California, you go into a store, if it's still even open and operating because so many of them left, and a lot of people were like pissed off. Why are you moving the Walmart in Oakland? Why can't you keep it open? Well, because it's getting robbed every single day. It's getting robbed every single day because the propensity of people to rob it, and not under $1,000. So $999. Okay, there you go. So under $1,000. Under $1,000, you can just walk into a store, steal stuff, and you're good. Even if the store's loss prevention is to apprehend you, keep you there, the only thing that the loss prevention will get out of that is their items back. There's not gonna be an arrest. There's not gonna be anything. The police might come and grab them and then just release them out on the street. It's craziness. So it just breeds lawlessness everywhere. And then when you have these riots, they just walk away and just let it happen. The police are, for the most part, just completely neutered. They can't do anything about it. And even if they could and put their life in harm's way, arrests won't even be made. It's craziness. It's craziness. But Florida is a very different story. So different states, different strokes, different folks, different strokes, folks. This is the way it's going to work if you go to Florida and you try to pull this off. And I can't wait to see more press conferences of this sort of caliber, because it really is that. Police told to stand down. It's crazy. Yeah, told to stand down. When did Canada last have a budget? Way too long. It's been way too long. It's been absolutely insane. Anyway, I wanted to share this one with you guys. There's so much to talk about, and then you go into tangents, and then that's it. You spend the whole live stream talking about other things. But nonetheless, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing these live streams and hanging out with you guys for a couple of hours every Friday evening. We can continue to hang out if you want. Go on over to the Discord. Go check it out. We'll be hanging in there for the next probably another couple hours, having some more wobbly pops and hanging out, talking about all the different stories that you guys are interested in, talking about whatever. Come on over and hang out. One of the moderators put the Discord link right in the chat somewhere in here. It's gonna get in there. In the meantime, we got Church of Hurts for $2 says 5 years ago New Zealand was the first domino. Are we next again? Yeah, very good point. Jilly Peppers with the Discord link. There it is, right there. I'm making sure everybody knows that it works. Is the link working? It's fine. It's all good. Everybody's good. You can get in there. Let me just check. Make sure. Yeah, people are getting into the chat. So cool. Gonna leave this one at that. I want to thank you guys all for coming out. It's fantastic hanging out with you guys every single week on Fridays. If you're new to the channel, this is the live stream for Fridays. We do this for 2 hours on Friday evenings. We also do a live stream every Wednesday with Marty up north, and we do that live. Check that out. It's always 6:30 Pacific time for both of those streams, and then every morning on the weekdays. Check that out. We got more stories coming in. Don't forget to subscribe to the second channel. The second channel is where a lot of stuff's moving to, or a lot of stuff's happening there. So check that out. Lots and lots of good content coming out for all of you guys as we're moving on to, what is this, next phase? I don't know. It's just we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere with all of this. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all in the Discord, or we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.